Right, hey guys, how are we doing? We are back on another video from NC Hammer 23. We're gonna get educational. We're gonna learn about the ANBU Black Ops, because apparently we know nothing about the ANBU Black Ops. So yeah, it's cool. Let's learn stuff.
There's an organization in Naruto that is incredibly well known, but very poorly understood. And I'm not talking
I'll agree with that. Yeah, cool.
about Kara or the Akatsuki or even the Five Kage. I'm talking about the ANBU. Public opinion of the ANBU ranges from everything to the strongest ninja in every village to literal fodder who will jump into a visible barrier and light themselves on fire.
Right,
and this
yeah.
is because the manga, and therefore the anime of Naruto, does a very poor job of representing the ANBU as a whole. In fact, our best picture of the ANBU comes from books like Itachi's light novels and Sakura's light novel, and even Shikamaru's light novel. It's from these information sources that we're able to learn the inner workings of the ANBU, how they were started, how you achieve ranks, what kind of missions they go out on, and most importantly, what the ANBU looks like in every single village. Because that's what—
Oh. Wait, I thought the ANBU was just like a Konoha thing. What?
one of the misconceptions about the ANBU. People believe that it only exists in Konoha.
Oh. Alright, cool.
But it doesn't. And we'll get into that in a second. But
Sick.
before we get into that, guys, for me, please like this video,
Wow.
subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you guys want to super support me for the fact that I just had to reread 3 light novels to make this video, go ahead and hit that join button and become a member of the Weeb Alliance over here on YouTube. You'll get 3 additional videos a month of
That's so funny. I was like, wait, what? I thought it was just Konoha. Then he's like, but a lot of people think it's just Konoha. I was like, ah.
my content. Sorry, it's very sunny in LA today. I look like Two-Face. People say they like the open window look. So here we are. So the ANBU. Today we are talking the clandestine assassination corps of every single village. Do you even know what ANBU stands for?
I was literally just thinking. I don't know. All right.
I'm gonna read it out for you because otherwise I will embarrass myself. It's Ansatsu Senjutsu Tokusho Butai, ANBU. In
Right.
English, it means Special Assassination and Tactical Squad.
Oh, right. Cool.
And this squad was created by Tobirama during his reign as second Hokage.
Of course it was.
And the title of the squad pretty much tells you exactly what they're there to do: tactical operations and assassinations. Now, it's always felt a bit odd to me that Tobirama, the person who pushed for peace as hard as anybody during the Warring States period, decided to make an assassination
No. I think he secretly wanted people to spy on those dirty Uchihas.
corps. But when you think about what the ANBU actually do on a very basal level, it actually makes a lot of sense that Tobirama created them. Tobirama was inherently trying to stop wars from happening. He also, after the loss of Hashirama, identified that the loss of a key figurehead is incredibly detrimental to the growth of a village.
Yeah,
And certain people, wink wink Madara, are better off dead because they will only usurp the peace in the future. So when you consider the fact that the ANBU are in charge of A, protecting the Hokage, but B, carrying out key political assassinations to stop wars from happening, it makes a lot of sense that Tobirama would create this force. It makes even more sense when you consider the fact that the ANBU are controlled directly by the village leader, in this case the Hokage. But what's very non-traditional in the way that Tobirama approached the ANBU situation is the fact that he made sure there was no ranks within the ANBU. This is odd
Oh, that's also interesting as well. So there's no ranking system within the ANBU. Okay.
considering the fact he made both the ninja school and the tuning
Yeah.
exams, which made sure that regular ninja were very much segmented into groups. Instead of doing exams to make it higher up in the ANBU ladder, leadership is dictated by merit and experience. But just because there's no ranks doesn't mean there's not leaders. There is absolutely ANBU squad captains, and those are some of the highest ranks that you can have just in a village anywhere. But is just sheer strength gonna get you into the ANBU? No, that's
No.
actually a very common misconception. Joining the ANBU is a bit like becoming an astronaut. You can be as smart as it comes, but if your emotional state isn't correct, you will not make it into the ANBU. Some of the strongest ninjas in the history of Konoha have been rejected by the ANBU, like Might Guy. Might Guy identified that Kakashi was becoming more withdrawn and darker because of the weight of his ANBU missions, and therefore asked both Hiruzen and Danzo to join the ANBU.
Oh, so we could like. Oh, okay. Keep an eye on him. Make sure he's
And they
okay.
both flatly rejected him. Danzo went as far as to say he didn't have the darkness within him to conduct ANBU missions. But this darkness is usually identified very early in a ninja's life. We learned in Shikamaru Shinden, Shikamaru's light novel, that the ANBU will begin scouting children while they're in the ninja academy.
Wow.
And this lines up with what we've seen throughout the duration of Naruto lore, mostly with how Danzo recruited his members of the Root, specifically members of the Aburame. Danzo tried to recruit Shino when he was 10 years old, identifying that Shino would be able to harbor some of the Aburame's most dangerous and powerful bugs. And he did the same thing with Itachi. But technically, this isn't usually the way it goes. Technically, an ANBU member is supposed to be handpicked by the village leader. Rank, ability, gender, none of that matters as long as you are picked by the Kage of your village. There's only one rule that stops you from joining the ANBU, and that's that you have to be at least 13, and this rule's only been broken once, and that was with Itachi, who joined when he was 11. This special exception was made because Itachi was so incredibly talented.
Yeah, like, you're not gonna not when it's Itachi, are you? Come on, you'd be so dumb not to let Itachi in.
So Danzo and Hiruzen kind of fudged Itachi's birth certificate and made him 13 to join the ANBU. So now that you've joined the ANBU, what does your day-to-day look like? Well, obviously, there's still going to be ninja training, like perfecting your ninjutsu and taijutsu and kenjutsu. But ANBU members do something different from your average ninja. They begin to study human anatomy. Because remember, this is an assassination force.
Interesting.
And therefore, they
That
have
makes
to be
sense,
able to identify what is truly the most vulnerable part of a person to an assassination attempt. And this is ultimately why ANBU members will sometimes be seen coming up very short in battles. You see the ANBU pull up and they get destroyed by some Jonin from some other village. And you say to yourself,
well, those ANBU must not be that strong.
Direct hand-to-hand combat is not what ANBUs are trained for. They are through and through assassins.
Yeah.
This is why the Aburame
Hiding in the shadows.
clan feeds into the ANBU so directly. Stealth, lethality, and efficiency are the biggest things in the ANBU. Not long, drawn-out battles with multiple people. Yes, most ANBU members are incredibly talented in hand-to-hand combat, but that's not their specialty. Their specialty is quick and fast assassination. And since they are involved in usually political assassinations of other villages, they need to wear masks to conceal their identities. They go so far as to have code names for each other as to not identify each other while out on the field.
That
and
makes
that
sense as well.
field
Cool.
they're usually in is usually very far away from Konoha. While we did learn in Itachi's first light novel, Itachi Shinden, Book of Bright Light, that ANBU members are almost always involved in important missions in the vicinity of Konoha or within it, like the Hyuga incident, where Jonin from the Hidden Cloud tried to abduct Hinata in order to start the Third Great Ninja War over again, or like the Konoha Crush arc. Obviously, like I said earlier, these ANBU members are incredibly talented ninjas, so if there's a pressing event that's either close to Konoha or within it, they're gonna go to it. But more often than not, they're tasked with assassinations and quelling of disturbances in foreign countries, which is why we see so little of them throughout the duration of the Naruto manga. 90% of the ANBU is so far away from Konoha, they never get screen time. But to get more specific, the ANBU deal with high-risk infiltrations into enemy countries, or tracking and surveying other ninjas on their missions, or just killing incredibly strong ninjas, or interrogating enemy forces in order to extract information. But here's the thing, since the ANBU are tasked with these incredibly important tasks, they have a lot of responsibility. The ANBU are handpicked by the Kage because those are people that the Kage believes have a strong faith to the village and will do what is ever necessary to keep the village safe. But because of this, they are often exposed to incredibly sensitive information. Let's say you just assassinated the leader of the Land of Hot Water because they were planning on attacking Konoha. Sure, you made the death look accidental, but you and your group know how that person died. The same goes if the situation is just you surveying enemy ninja, or if you interrogate an enemy ninja and find out the plans of the Hidden Cloud. All of that information gets stored up here, and therein lies the problem. You know too much. Because of this, ANBU members are instructed to destroy their bodies should they be unable to make it back to Konoha. Not kill themselves.
Oh, just absolutely get rid of everything. Whoa.
Destroy their bodies. This is because there is still technically possible ways to extract memories and information from the body of an ANBU member who is dead. And there is most definitely a way to extract that information from somebody who is just gravely injured. So in order to stop other villages from finding out what the ANBU were doing in said area, they have to completely destroy their bodies with paper bombs. And here's the thing, this organization was so effective under Tobirama for Konoha that other villages installed it. And while other villages ANBUs function much like Konoha's, The Hidden Mist villages operates a little differently. In the Hidden
I reckon they're far more brutal in the Hidden Mist.
Mist, there is an entire branch of the ANBU dedicated to finding missing ninjas, also known as missing nin. The members of this branch of ANBU are referred to as hunter nin, and they're supposed to track down, find, and then kill and decapitate people who leave the Hidden Mist.
Right, yeah, there you go. I told you. Oh, wow.
They are then supposed to take this head back to the village as proof they found them. This group was largely
Told you. God, Hidden Mist was messed up.
created because of the Blood Mist Village. The intensity and gore of the Blood Mist Village and the way that ninjas were forced to kill each other to rise up in the ranks made a lot of people desert. And because of that, the Hidden Mist Village had to make an entire group of ANBU members who went to go hunt down and kill those deserters in order to stop other people from deserting. It's a bit like how in America, desertion comes with a lifelong sentence in prison if you just run away from the war. But they don't stop at decapitation. No, they destroy your entire body so nobody else can use your
Right, so decapitate the head, destroy everything else, take the head back as proof.
body
Wow.
for information. That's really only talking about one side on the two-sided coin that is the ANBU. Yes, they are incredibly important in taking action to help Konoha in its foreign policy, I guess. But they also serve an at-home purpose. There is a group of ANBU who are super selectively picked by the Kage. The cream of the crop of the ANBU who only take orders from the Kage. Konohamaru's parents were part of this upper echelon. These are the ANBU that are usually seen protecting the Kage, like the ones who came to Hiruzen's side during the Konoha Crush arc and then immediately hurled themselves into a barrier, lit on fire, and died, or Konohamaru's parents who died fighting the Nine Tails in order to protect Hiruzen and Minato. But what I'm trying to get at in a kind of roundabout way is that the ANBU are also kind of like a police force for the village. Obviously, protecting the Kage is a domestic affair that they deal with, but they also deal with just crime and other things of interest in their respective villages. Think of the ANBU a bit like the FBI in America, and the Konoha police a bit just like police. Except in ninja villages, there's no clear jurisdiction between what belongs to the Konoha police force and what belongs to the ANBU in terms of jurisdiction. It's just the ANBU and the police force are both tasked with keeping peace in their respective villages. Jurisdictional lines are basically just whatever the Kage says. If the Kage says that this is going to be an ANBU investigation, then it's an ANBU investigation, and vice versa. But because this is so non-concrete, the ANBU and the police force often clash over who's in charge. But that brings me to a pretty interesting tidbit about the ANBU. The ANBU can't be arrested by the police force without a warrant. This is because of how much important information that they hold. This is weird to me though, because ANBU members' identities are largely hidden. I know it doesn't seem that way because everybody and their brother knows that Itachi is a squad captain, but the reason they wear masks is both because they don't want enemies to find out who they are, but also because they don't want people around them knowing who they are. So the idea of like, hey, you can't arrest me, I'm ANBU, kind of flips the whole script. It's like, you're not supposed to know I was ANBU. But here's the thing. There's another force that polices Konoha, and it's a force that people get mixed up with the ANBU a lot, but are inherently very separate things. I'm talking about the root. See, people believe that the root and the ANBU are synonymous. And for
I thought the root was like a... You know, he said that like the Hidden Mist had like that section, but I thought the root was kind of like that.
a little while, maybe they were close to that, but they were never truly the same thing. You see, the ANBU act under the discretion of the Kage, specifically the Hokage, because now we're just talking about Konoha. Not every village has a root. Literally, it was only Konoha. But sometimes Hiruzen wouldn't direct the ANBU in the direction that Danzo wanted, so Danzo made his own ANBU, and his ANBU was way darker. You see, Danzo then became the Kage of his own ANBU and was able to direct his people at any mission he wanted. Essentially, he became an underground police
like a shadow Kage.
force, even more covert than the ANBU. It's called the Root because Danzo saw the Root as the people who held the great tree of Konoha up from the underground. And there's a reason Hiruzen didn't want to send people out on these missions, because most of them were relatively deplorable. The Root did a bunch of terrible things, like assassinate people who they identified as future threats simply because they talked badly about Konoha, despite having done nothing wrong yet. But what's truly odd is that before the Uchiha massacre, the Root was acknowledged by Konoha. Well, more specifically, by Hiruzen. Hiruzen essentially gave Danzo a carte blanche, or a blank check to do whatever he wanted to in order to make sure Konoha stayed safe. He essentially said, out of sight, out of mind, and let
right.
Danzo make all the hard decisions. But once the Uchiha Massacre happened, which was almost entirely manufactured by Danzo, Hiruzen officially broke up the root, meaning that it was no longer officially supported by
Right, but it's still there. Yeah.
Konoha, but it continued to exist non-officially. And the root non-officially operated until Danzo's death, because the root members were still loyal to Danzo. They would listen to his commands over Hiruzen's. And in a sense, this disbanding didn't really affect Danzo in the least. He continued to do all the things he did before, but now he was even less in the eye of Hiruzen. What truly separates the root from the ANBU, outside of the fact that they would do a lot more detestable things? Well, one, it was stricter and more selective than the ANBU. While you didn't necessarily have to be in the ANBU to get pulled into the root, if you've already been selected out of an entire village based on your ability to be tactical and also the darkness of your soul, there's a solid chance you're going to see a little bit of a crossover. But remember what I said about ANBU members having to destroy their bodies should they get too fatally injured to return to Konoha? The root takes it one step further, and they put a seal on your
Oh, yeah. Sai's got one.
tongue that stops you from being able to talk about the root. It also stops you from being able to talk about Danzo or move at all. Should you try and talk about Danzo or the root, your body will paralyze immediately and you will fall to the ground. This was done by Danzo in order to stop information leaks amongst the root. Danzo even went one step further with root members. Should a root member get put under genjutsu, they would pull out a blade and commit seppuku. We learned this when Itachi and Shisui fought Mukai Kohinata in Itachi's Shinden. Shisui catches Mukai Kohinata in a genjutsu, and Mukai, who was a member of the root, just pulls out his kunai and cuts his own stomach open. This was also to stop information from leaking outside of the root. But on top of that, Danzo took the whole darkness thing much further. Danzo wanted every member of the root to be completely emotionless. He would raise members of the roots in pairs and make them incredibly close, and
Then kill him. You gotta kill him now.
he would have them kill each other, making them sever any attachment or emotional connection to any human around them. And this was eerily reminiscent of the way the Hidden Mist Village made their shinobis during the Blood Mist Village era. Essentially, in order to graduate from the Hidden Mist Academy, you had to kill one of your fellow shinobi. And remember how ANBU had code names but still knew their own names? Root members had code names but forgot their original names because they only went by those code names.
Wow.
But the true cherry on top is how the root slowly programs the brains of its members. We saw this with Nono Yakushi, who was the head of the orphanage that Kabuto was raised up in. Essentially, she was a root member, and then she was like, nah, I'm good, and went to go run an orphanage. But eventually Danzo was like,
You're still mine, and pulled her back.
Danzo knew why he was pulling her back. It was because he wanted her to kill Kabuto. And Danzo knew he was gonna do this, so he took all the photos she had with him and slowly but surely changed Kabuto in these photos, making it so when he sent her to kill Kabuto, she didn't even recognize him. Essentially, Danzo handpicked the deadliest and darkest members of Konoha and brought them down to the underground, where he used manipulation tactics and literal seals to form malleable killing weapons. Malleable killing weapons that wouldn't ask questions. Malleable killing weapons that would do any task you ask. Honestly, it's a bit like MK Ultra. So no, the root and the ANBU are not the same thing. One responds to the Hokage, one responds to Danzo. One kills political figures of other lands, the other kills people from Konoha who don't speak so nicely about it. So what do the ANBU do now that we're in an era of peace? Not a whole lot. They police Konoha and they protect the Kages. But there was a group of ANBU members who were afraid that this era of peace was going to decimate the need for the ANBU. And in a sense, they're not incorrect. Yes, there is still small skirmishes in smaller villages that require surveillance and maybe even an assassination or two. But this is nothing compared to the amount of work that the ANBU had prior to the Fourth Great Shinobi World War. So in Sakura Shinden, a former ANBU captain starts to create disturbances around Konoha that the ANBU are needed for, in order to reinvigorate the need for ANBU. Eventually, he's found out by Sakura and brutally murdered by her in one of the coolest fights in Naruto lore, point blank period. But yeah, that's kind of a good view into the ANBU in the Age of Boruto. And that's about all you need to know about both the ANBU and the root. I hope you liked this video and you found it entertaining and informational. And if you did, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you really enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit that join button. Become a member of the Weeb Alliance over here on YouTube. You'll be getting 3 additional videos from me a month, which is everything from Naruto content that I can't make into a long enough video to post here on the main page, vlogs, let's play series, all things like that. But if you can't do that right now, just remember, there's no correct way to support a content creator, and I just appreciate you making it to the end of this video. Listen, they would have to put a seal on my tongue, because the second I get caught by anybody in the Naruto world, I am snitching.
Yeah. The things they could do. It's like, I don't know. It's just. That was really cool. That was very, very informative. I love when people put videos out, like, you know, based off of actual stuff that's out there, and like put it out. Yeah, because it wasn't in the anime, it wasn't in the manga, but then like bits are, and then it makes sense when you read them. That was cool. That was really cool. I like that. That was awesome. Anyway. Thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month for support channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, really. Comments down below. Let me know what I should watch, discuss in future videos. See you guys next time.